I'm Turk Strongman at the Ryan Q Amaturaka. Thank you for selecting this video on gaining control over your own personal evolvement. Call it what you will, spiritual development, establishment of true selfhood, circumvention of consciousness hijacking, perception deception, mastery of self by self, call it what you will. Before I continue, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, excuse me. Well, take a moment right now to do it. No better time than right now. And that way you can also activate the notification bell feature and be apprised of my new uploads. You can also share the joy of this channel right now, lest you forget to do it later, by right now simply clicking on the thumbs up icon button just below this video. Now, taking charge of your own personal involvement. Let's compare it to something to get to a point, make a point more easily said, more understandable, more unpacked when I get to saying it by way of an analogy or two. Let's set up an analogy right now. Let's say getting a doctorate degree, starting from having your high school diploma. All right, you go to college. Let's say you go to a good college, one that's going to prepare you for, getting your doctorate at a place like Stanford, Harvard, Princeton, Berkeley, Oxford, whatever, something like that. University of Chicago. The professors assume at a university like that, I know this because I went to one. I got my college degree. The professors are scholars. And they assume that you are there to become scholars. In college, they have only 4 years to give you all the background information that you're going to need to go on and get your doctorate. They have only 4 years. To get your doctorate, depending on the program, maybe another 3 years, maybe another 7. But it's not a lot of time. When I went to Berkeley, the professors there, I was taught by the professors. All the lectures were done by the professors. They weren't done by teaching assistants or graduate students. All the lectures were done by the professors. But these people's minds were amazing. They were like intellectual luminaries. They were, if you look up at the night sky, they were the brightest stars in the sky. Intellectually, they were. I would wonder. And during my first year there, I wondered, how does these people get like this in one lifetime? Well, then I discovered it's because of the ways, the thoroughness, the methods, and the rigorousness, the comprehensiveness of the academic regimes that they propagate. They get it done. It happens. It's a short amount of time, and it's worked out to work like that. Here's another one: boot camp, military boot camp. If you go to a boot camp graduation during a period of war, boot camp may be only 8 weeks long. When there's not a war, they get people off to as quickly as possible out of boot camp. It might be up to 12 weeks long. Still, consider if you have a company. Now, I'm talking from experience here too. I was in the Navy, United States Navy. A company is about 80 people. You got recruits into boot camp from all walks of life. Some have never owned a pair of shoes in their whole life. Others might be in their upper 20s. 28 years old was the cutoff point for enlistment when I was 28. People already set in their ways. But on graduation day, all 80 in the company, when you watch them march onto the parade ground for the ceremony, they're all moving in unison. It's all perfectly executed. Just to get that done. To get that ceremony presentation for the guests, people's parents. For the Master Chief of the command, the captain of the command. The ceremony. Just to get that executed properly and correctly, accurately, that day. Given 8 to 12 weeks, the starting point, all of these 80 different starting points of the recruits. To get that done, that's not much time. To get a hell of a lot done. It requires a comprehensive approach, and it requires rigor. It requires a well laid out program. Now, let's take a look at my channel here. There's a lot. For you to do the analog, the equivalent with your own personal involvement. Go back to the academic thing. You're not going to become a scholar by just taking Composition 101 and applying it and learning everything, getting everything out of it you can. Composition 101 in writing. English Composition 101. Or even 102, which is usually argumentative writing. Say you take both of those, and you're really good at it. That's not going to make you a scholar. You have to do the whole thing. Okay, now back to this case here, our case. You're not going to achieve a hell of a lot by looking at one playlist here or one or two videos. Now, you may actually engage if there are things to do in a playlist here, practical instruction, or in one or two videos that are in your interest. If you have just a specific thing in mind that you want help with, and you actually apply it, yeah, you will get help in that area. Okay. Because the material is the right material. And it's designed to help anybody. Anybody and everybody. If applied. Because it's the right material to do that. If you're lucky enough to find such material, well, it's here. I make sure of it. But it's not going to be the whole shebang. And it's not going to walk you step by step toward being the self-mastery, the personal involvement, or the whatever you call it, right? Equivalent to or analog to becoming a scholar. All right. You're going to need help here. Right? So now we're getting to the point. You contact me to help you through it, to guide you through it all. Here in the channel, piecing it all together. There are over 800 videos here. How are you going to know what to do first? How are you going to get it all done? 800 some videos. Let's say you ask me, you email me, or you ask in a comment, can you give me a list of the videos here on your channel or playlists to go through and sequence. And if I actually do it, it will it'll put me through a whole comprehensive thing. Well, so I give you a list. It might be 200 videos, all full of new information for you and full of things to do. Cognitive as well as practical instruction. How long is it going to take you to do that? Years. It will. Are you going to do that all on your own? Let's go back to the analogy, the academic regime thing. Are you going to do all that it takes to get yourself a doctorate without any professors, without any university, just in your own living room? Are you going to do that? Will you even know what to do? Will you even know the most efficient sequence to do things in? No, you won't. It's very rare that somebody is capable of doing that. Somebody actually can pull that off. In fact, I would say it comes dangerously close to never happening. Yeah. So you enlist me. You get me to guide you through it. Now, if you were to do that, you're going to be told up front what it all involves, about how much time per day it's going to take. And there will be a week 0 before the starting gun fires for week 1 to commence. It'll be a week 0. It's kind of a test run. Gives you 15 minutes of something to do each day. And during that, it's a week, 7-day thing. And during that week, you also get cognitive information by email from me. Well, maybe a little bit every day. About how the program is going to work, what to expect, the reason for week 0. All right. It kind of, with respect to the amount of things to learn and to do and the time it takes, it kind of represents what each week is going to be like. And then you make a final decision. I've had few people make it past week 2. They fizzle out after making their big decision, after saying what a wonderful thing they finally found in their lives. They've been looking for this for years, this kind of thing. This obviously is genuine. This obviously is that rare once-in-a-lifetime thing. A once-in-a-lifetime, also one lifetime out of probably thousands opportunity. Like several thousand people, one person finds an opportunity like this once in life. And in week 2, they drop out. This isn't graduating boot camp. This isn't an academic regime. Those things are very focused. One is becoming a scholar in a certain area. And the other one is being prepared for, military service, active duty, involving being prepared for or engaging in combat of one type or another. This is something far bigger. This is your cosmic sojourn, the quality of it, and the pace that it goes at. This is the real hell or high water of all hells and high waters. You might have to persevere to get through something, a program. This is the big one. And you're not going to be able to accomplish it all by yourself. You're not going to know what to do. It could take you all your life to only figure out a fraction of what to do and how to do it. This is called the search. That's called the search. The seeker engages in the search and may never get a good, find, they may try this, they try that, and they just get into trying stuff. And then they eventually just develop a library of stuff that they may have read, may have not. And that's it. And then they end up deciding, well, I'll just, I'll try to be a good person without really having much of a definition for what that is. I'll just try to be a good person. That's about the best you can do. I'm not going to find a yogi, guru, swami, monk, some lofty crag in the Himalayas of India. Or Tibet, meditate in the cave by his side for years. It's not going to happen. I don't even live there. So all I can do is the best I can here in life. But you already knew that from the start. You just have a new level of having arrived at that notion. So what's my big point here? The big point is this. Please. See, I've only had one person finish my program. One. In about 20 years of doing this. My one-on-one thing. One. There have been quite a few recruits, although I don't recruit, and listers in it. Applicants. Few have made it even past week 2. Largely boils down to the reasons boiled down to the common denominator among all the varied reasons. Each person's unique reason or set of reasons for fizzling out. The common denominator is time. Don't have time. Well, if you have been out of high school for a few years, no doubt you have a job, but you decide to go to college. Let's say by now you have a child or 2, but you decide to go to college. Do you have time for that? Do you? Do you have time for that, really? No. But you make it happen. And again, that's of far less importance. Magnanimity, gravity, than this work in your life. Don't make it past week 2. I want to ask you, don't contact me about being, about consulting with me. Just some back and forth emails asking me some questions. Or me to help you along through all of this. Or can we do the one-on-one thing? Unless you're serious, guys. All right? Don't waste my time. Don't waste your time. Don't put yourself in a position to understand and deeply acknowledge that you have found what you've been looking for. And a comprehension of the power of all of this here that I'm talking about is available through me and here. now. And then fail yourself, give it up before you even really get started, after having made a commitment to yourself, let alone to me, or to me, let alone to yourself. It's the commitment to yourself I'm speaking of right now. Once you're that certain that you have found that once in a lifetime opportunity during a period of a narrow window of opportunity that most people never find, never even come across. And then let yourself down. And it wastes my time too. No matter how much time you may put into each week in my program, which goes for like 9 months to a year, which incidentally isn't much time to get a hell of a lot done, but it's structured so that it gets done. If you're not serious, if you can't make it through that short amount of time, if you're going to make this commitment to yourself, don't even talk to me about it. And once again, no matter how much work and time you put into it, it pales in comparison to the work and time I put into you. No matter how much trust you put in it and put into me to guide you through, it pales in comparison to the trust I'm putting in you. Don't waste time in your life, or in mine, or build up trust and then blow it apart. Don't abuse the universe like that. Don't. Just don't. It's better that you don't even look into it. It's better that you just don't bring it up to me. Okay? Don't get started and then fizzle out. Just don't do it. You might ask right now, but how do I know whether, good grief, this hair. How do I know whether it's going to work out for me until I start and give it a try? That's what week 0 is for. And whatever dialogue between you and I lead up to week 0. Final decision time is at the end of week 0. There is time and method to work that out for yourself. The fizzling out is the mind playing games, because it doesn't want to come under control. It's like a wild horse, and it comes up with all kinds of reasons. Those reasons are going to keep popping up until it becomes under control, until you've got it tamed down. Then it will be your humble and willing and obedient servant. Excuse me again. I don't know what the heck is going on here. All right, so and then if you can get through the mind, coming up with its own little tricks and reasons why this isn't going to go. There's just not enough time. And then there's the whole false ego, which includes the mind's work, but then it's, the false ego gets the mind to to work on other aspects of why you should just drop out. Because the mind doesn't want to come under control because it's out of control. The false ego doesn't want to give up doesn't want to give way to the true ego, the true self. But it will. Neither one of these things are going to be overcome in 2 weeks. No. If the mind is like a wild horse, then the false ego is like a wild tiger. But your true self, your latent potential, true self, hidden within you, is more powerful, more strong, bigger, more effective than those. Those will come under its control. That's one way to look at what we're doing here. It's a very serious thing. It's what you are here to do. Not here on my channel, but here. It's what there is to be done. The universe is trying to evolve, to become more than what it is, to actualize all of its potential. I gotta go.